tonight we are play gam. Yes! Play gam! Who can do such play gam? I do such play gam! Huzzah! So, oh, jeez. Just let me, sorry about that. Alright. Done and dust do know. Hey, there's a Delson. I see a Delson. Hello, Delson. A wild Delson appears. I'm not a wild liberty. I'm a fairly tame liberty, actually. But yeah, tonight we are trying to finish off a few old games that we have, outstanding. So, I'm going to be trying to do Little Lily Princess. Finish that off. And, sorry, I'm feeling a little parched, so I've got some apple juice here. And if we manage to do that, then we might jump into some police game. Oh, this is the police, or SteamWorld Dig, which we played once and haven't been back to, but would probably like to do again. Or maybe some whole human fall flat. I'll let you guys decide. And that was a bag. It has been cold lately. Yes, I know some of you people are like, anything that's over 0 isn't cold. Well, shut the fuck up. It's cold for me. But, yeah, so I've got an electric blanket on. I am currently wearing a blanket as a cape. And I'm in bed with my trusty desk pulled over to me so I can use my computer. Alright, so no more blabbing, no more talking. Let's get straight down to it. Let me know if the image is okay. It should be fine. Hold up. There we go. Let me just double check that shit. Yeah, looks good. Feels good, man. Looks good, man. Alright, so let's just jump straight in to some more Little Lily Princess. Yes. Where were we last time? Last time... Ooh. Just trying to remember, but I think we got fucked over. Something chronic. Right. Oh, right. So last time what happened was that we got our, we got everything. It was our birthday. So this is basically a roundup of what have happened. For those of you who haven't played the game, our dad sent us to a boarding school. He's from we're English initially, went to India. Mum died there giving birth to us. Dad sent us to boarding school while he invested in some mines. So we're back in London. And he invested in some mines. He paid for everything at the school for us to have our own room, have all this pretty stuff spent on us. We were quite happy. We were getting along with the girls, some more than others. Lavinia did not like us very much, but we're a pretty nice girl. Unfortunately, a few things that we said came off as a bit weird to the headmistress, and she thinks we're very rude and cruel and spoilt and a brat. So she didn't like us very well, but she was prepared to dote on us because we had a very rich father who had just invested in some diamond mines. Anyway, it turns out the diamond mines were a bust. And because news takes a while to get there, it was around our, get back and forth. Because it's set in like the early 1900s. Around that time period. Because of that, late 1800s. Yeah, like the 1870s to 1920s sort of era. Because it took so long for word to get to us, it was our birthday and the headmistress got a little crazy with the spending. She bought us this big giant doll. She splashed out on a party. We were all having fun. And on our actual birthday, the guy in charge of our finances while in London came in and he went to the headmistress and basically said, Look, we just got word. Her dad's dead. He's bankrupt. She's not an heiress or anything. The mine that he put all his money in, he sank his whole fortune into that. She's got no family. So basically, do what you want with her, because we ain't paying those bills. Yeah, there's no money to pay for all this shit that you just bought. And of course, the lady is very upset. So she's turned us basically into an indentured servant, which means that we are now a maid for life, working at this boarding school. And she's not treating us very well. She doesn't like us at all. At all. Most of the girls, like, some of them are a bit less, don't want to be seen with her. Whereas before they were quite happy to cozy up a bit. Erminia is still nice. She's this dowdy little girl who's not very smart, but she tries. And Becky's still nice. She's the maid girl, who was our maid. She's the maid of the inn. We had an actual personal French maid, but she got booted out when the money dried up and she left, even though she was really nice to us. She's like, no money here, I'm gone. So she left on us, or zut alors, no money here, I'm gone. And Lavinia hates our guts. We didn't really spend much time with her anyway, so our friendship was kind of in the gutter anyway. And it got worse because Lavinia doesn't like Ermengarde, and we didn't mind Ermengarde. Then Lavinia's friend, what's her name? There is no beg for more porridge option. Lavinia's friend, who is a dancer, she's nice, but she's sort of on Lavinia's side because they're best friends, but she's not, like, very rude and cruel and mean. So she's sort of, I don't really want to talk to you because that'll get me on Lavinia's bad side, but I don't hate your guts, and you're still really nice, and I'm sorry this had to happen. So she's sort of nice. And then there's this little girl who's much younger than us, who was sort of, she was an orphan, but her dad is her dad owes a lot of money. So her mother died, her dad owes a lot of money. He sent her to this boarding school. She's much younger than us. And we sort of became a sort of surrogate big sis mum sort of to her. She's still really nice to us, even though she's been pulled around by Lavinia and told not to. Even though Lavinia didn't have the time of day for her back then. So that's basically where we're at, except we've just sort of settled in with the maid thing. You'll see on the side we've got all these points. Well, we just sort of settled in with that, and then somebody's moved next door. And it's this guy who's forgotten... It's this rich gentleman who's bought the place next door, and he comes from India. And so we're a little excited about that. Like, oh, some guy from India. That's really cool. I've seen some of the things before. So we don't know what's going... It might be someone she knows. It might not be someone she knows. She hasn't seen the guy. So it might be like one of her dad's friends. No idea. So we were in the middle of picking our things for the day. So these stats on the side used to be something else when we weren't what we are. Our fatigue is sky high. So we might need to go for our pride and sorrow. So they've all got stats. And the higher they are, the worse they are in this case. Beforehand, the higher they are, the better they were. But yeah, it flipped around. So we've got additional chores. So this one gets you extra hungry. And, what's that one? Cold, I think. Or pain? I can't remember. Wait, here we go. So that's hunger. That's fatigue. That's pride. That's pain, chill, and sorrow. Okay, so, we've got to pick which ones. So all chill becomes fatigue. We don't want too much fatigue, so we're not doing that. So that one's pretty bad, actually. I'm going to try and aim for the pride ones, but it's kind of hard. We'll try for that one. Because you try and balance it out, because it sort of deteriorates each week. So I'm going to try for things that don't have anything to do with pain or fatigue. Just to make sure that we don't kill ourselves by accident. So we'll go for that as well. We could do with a little bit of chill. And is there... It's kind of difficult. I guess we can do that. Alright, let's try. So, what do we get? We got hunger and pride. We got sorrow and pride. Okay, we can deal with that. We got hunger and pride. We got hunger and sorrow. And we got fatigue and sorrow. So, that's not too bad. We do need to try and get rid of the fatigue a bit more. But I think we're okay with that. We didn't die. That's a bonus, right? When Sarah... Oh, and this is a sort of dating sim / visual novel. So, yeah, there's a lot of writing, which I'll be reading out anyway. But, who you spend time with the most, because every time, each time a week you get to spend time with some people, a person. Who you spend time with gets some friendship points, but you've got to have a set amount of stuff in order to spend time with them. So we'll see how that goes. But I think it's just locked to Becky this time while we're a maid, so we'll see how that goes. Sorry. Parched myself out. When Sarah stumbled up to the attic that night, her slim legs shook with exhaustion. She could not even reach the comfort of the red footstools before her knees gave out. It had been a terrible day. She'd been sent out in the cold time and again, no one choosing to remember that she was only a child, that she was not strong, and that her small body might be chilled and fragile. Well, she hasn't even met him yet. She's about 11. I think she was turning 12. She just turned 12 when all this happened. It happened literally on her birthday. So halfway through her birthday party, Bitchface McGee came in, ripped her out of it, and basically took her off. Like, holy shit, she didn't even get to finish her birthday party. Like, how mean is that? That is so mean. And it's not like the other girls weren't also enjoying this stuff, so it wasn't just for her, but still. Cooks were... Oh, yeah, there's this girl named... this woman called Cook, who's just she's a bitch. She's a bitch to everyone, but especially to the hired help. Cook's words had been vulgar and insolent. The girls had sneered amongst themselves at Sarah's shabbiness. Oh, Emily. Emily's the doll that her father gave her. She's had her since she was very young. So she's about the only thing she has left. Oh, Emily. Some men laughed at me because my old shoes made me slip down in the mud. I'm covered with mud now, and they laughed. And because I could not find that last thing the cook sent me for, they would not give me any supper. I'm so hungry. Can't you hear me, Emily? I'm hungry, and I'm cold, and I'm tired. Why won't you say something, anything? There's nobody but you to care for me, no one in all the world. Well, I'm sure things will come good eventually. She looked at the staring glass eyes and complacent face, and suddenly a sort of heartbroken rage seized her. She lifted her little savage hand and with one sweep knocked Emily off the chair. You're nothing but a doll. Nothing but a doll. You care for nothing. You're stuffed with sawdust. You never had a heart. Nothing could ever make you feel. You're a doll. Sarah hid her face in her arms and burst into a passion of sobbing. Sarah, who almost never cried. Mind you, the doll is the only thing she has left of her dad, which is really sad. Emily lay on the floor with her legs ignominiously doubled over her head, up over her head, but her face remained calm, even dignified. Sarah's sobs gradually quieted themselves. After a while she raised her face and looked at Emily, who seemed from this angle to be gazing at her with a kind of glassy-eyed sympathy. Another thing about Sarah is that she's a storyteller and an eternal optimist. So seeing her break down like this is kind of really sad, because she was like, she's like really smiley and happy and everything and really nice to everyone. And it's just kind of really sad, especially since she hasn't really cried for her father dying. It's like, oh, Emily, you can't help being a doll. Not any more than Ermengarde can help being plump, or Lavinia and Jessie can help not having any sense. We're not all made alike. See, eternal optimist. Sarah picked up Emily and kissed her. Then she shook her clothes straight and put her back upon the chair. Perhaps you do your sawdust best. I must do my best as well. So, yeah, we can't talk to anybody quite yet. So the only event we can play with is Becky, and that's because we got 6 chill. So let's talk to Becky. Sarah sat on her little bed, rubbing her hands together to try and make her fingers warm. It wouldn't be so bad if I had a nice pot of tea or cocoa to make me warm from the inside, or if there were a fire in the grate, or if I had a fur robe and a thick blanket, if I had anything at all. At the lengthening dark, the empty spaces of the attic pressed mercilessly around Sarah. There are no monsters in the dark. Even little Lolly knows that there aren't. I am perfectly safe. I only wish... And then, as if answer to her thoughts, a hollow knocking echoed through the walls. Becky! She hurried to the wall to signal her companion that it was all right to enter. Moments later, Becky hurried into Sarah's room, a blanket wrapped around herself. It's starting to get chilly up here, miss. Come and sit on the bed with me and we can cuddle together. With 2 little girls wrapped under 2 blankets, even thin ones, the attic soon felt much more cozy. I was just thinking that it would be nice in here if I had anything at all to help keep me warm, and now I do. It's too bad these beds are so narrow, or we could sleep here together. When I were little, miss, we had to share in beds like these, but I guess I'm not so little any more. We can both fit snug and nice while we're awake, but if we slept like this, I think one of us would fall off. Do you think it would work if we got both beds and put them next to each other? Oh, I don't know, miss. Them bedsteads are heavy, and I don't know if they'd hold up being moved, and Miss Minchin might not like it. And you like having your own room, you said so. Yes, miss. But you're right, when full winter comes we might want to. We could just put the mattress on the floor together. They're easier to move than the bed frames. Oh, but then the rats would come up onto the bed. Becky shuddered. Sorry, miss, but even if they made us warmer, I don't want a blanket of rats. No, neither do I. Becky leaned her forlorn little head against Sarah's shoulder and let out a low, slow, soft sigh. By the way, if you want this game, it's on Steam. I recommend it. The people who made it are the same people who made another game called, Black Closet, and that's a really cool little game. It's a female dating game, so you play a female character and you date females, and, it's also a mystery sort of solving game where you're part of a crew who has to solve mysteries in the school, and you have to find out who's the traitor among your group. So it's pretty cool, and the traitor changes every time. And they've got customized games, so you can actually add your own friends and shit in there. It's pretty cool. You want a team made up of anime waifus? You can make a team of anime waifus. But, sorry. I'm getting sidetracked. Sorry about that. Becky leaned her forlorn little head against Sarah's shoulder and let out a slow, soft sigh. I'm sorry, miss. Whatever for? I came in to warm you up, and I'm not being very good company, and... Air scraped harshly through her nose as she breathed. I feel like I'd never amount to nothing. Miss Lavinia was right. I don't belong around proper ladies. Lottie is not a proper lady. She's just a little girl. You are you, so am I, and Lavinia is a beast. She's a young lady. She's important to people. I'm not. I'm not worth any much more than a handful of shillings. Yes, you are. Of course you are. It's all just accidents. Tomorrow morning Lavinia's family could disappear and she could end up just like me. There's no way to know. Perhaps one Sunday Miss Minchin will be at church and suddenly her heart will fill with warmth and she will come back to the seminar and want to be kind to everyone. Oh, that'd need a miracle, miss. Miracles happen. They happen all the time. They have to. Like on the road to Damascus. You remember that story, don't you, from your Bible classes? Becky nodded. It could happen. She could decide to make you a charity student. With your own little bedroom downstairs with the other girls, and nice dresses, and let you go into classes. Don't laugh, it could. Who would believe me, one of them girls downstairs? Even if she stays the same as ever, you don't have to be a scullery maid forever. You can be a parlour maid some day, or cook. Wouldn't you like to be cook in a nice warm kitchen? I bet cook never goes hungry. You see, it could get better. Everything changes. My position certainly did. Sarah suddenly felt her fingers squeezed together by Becky's rough grip. You're still a princess to me, miss. Always. The corners of Sarah's mouth twitched uncontrollably upwards. What would you do, Becky, if a miracle happened? If you could do anything, absolutely anything that you wanted? If I had a wish from one of them lamps, you mean? Something like that, but without having to worry about the magic going wrong or a witch with a curse. And not about your whole life changing, just one thing. If you could do one thing, what would you want? Well, I always wanted to ride in one of them fancy carriages like the royals have, blue as the sky and covered all over with gold and jewels and lamps all around, and a team of white horses to pull it. Oh, that's lovely, just like Cinderella. The carriage would take you to the palace where you would dance with the prince. Oh, miss, I don't know about that. Don't know how to dance, don't want to. Just to see it all, that'd be enough for me, I'm sure. You will see it, and much more someday, I'm sure. The magic will make it happen. Aw. Sarah lay in her little bed. The skylight covered her with the grey light of morning, but there was no... Sorry. But there was no warmth in it. No warmth either in the unlit fire, and very little to be found in the old... Wow. Okay. Sorry. I'm making all sorts of weird noises tonight. Found in the old blanket. Perhaps I'll freeze in place some night laying here, like Snow White in her crystal coffin. But what prince would find me here, alone in the attic, to wake me from my slumber? I do not even have dwarfs to tend me. Fairy tale princesses are often rescued by princes, but it is not so much the case for true princesses and queens. Mary, Queen of Scots, had to ride her own horse and raise her own army for her escape. She was very brave, but they caught her, and in the end she was executed just like Marie Antoinette. I think it is very noble to be a queen who must carry on, even when she is sad or afraid. More noble than a princess who sleeps and waits to be saved. I have to carry on. That means first I must rise from my bed. Another day of work stretched before her, and no rescue in sight. We could do with some more pride and chill. Let's try for that. I'm not going to risk it. Alright, and let's see. Oh, here comes brother. One moment. Dust and polish? I don't want that one. I don't want that one. I'll just go for that. No. Oh, fuck that. Alright, let's go. Oh, we had to gain a fatigue. Okay, some chill. I'm okay with chill. Okay, pride and sorrow. I'm okay with that. No! Oh no, I've got a bad feeling about fatigue. I got a feeling we're gonna die. Oh my god. I think if we get one more fatigue, we're dead from fatigue. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. I might want to save, huh? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 please. There were fine sunsets even in London sometimes, but most people could see only parts of them between the chimneys and over the roofs. Down in the kitchens one could not see them at all, and could only guess that they were happening because the bricks looked warmer, the air rosy or yellow for a while. From the bedrooms of the boarding students, the views were only slightly better. Perhaps one might see a blazing glow as it struck a pane of glass on a nearby window. But there was so much more to be seen. Piles of red or gold clouds in the west, or the purple ones edged with dazzling brightness, or the little fleecy floating ones tinged with rose colour and looking like flights of pink doves scurrying across the blue in a great hurry as if there was wind. There was one place from which a viewer could see the sunset skies in all their splendour. That place was, of course, the attic window. When the square outside the seminary began to take on that enchanted glow, Sarah would, if possible, steal away and creep up the flights of stairs to her attic, to lean as far out of the window as she could. When she had accomplished this, she always drew a long breath. In the golden light of sunset, even the London air seemed purer. This wonder is mine alone. It is the one joy of life in this attic, the one beauty that has been granted to me. No one else ever looked out of the other attics. Generally, the skylights were closed, but even if they were propped open to admit air, no one seemed to come near them. Sarah turned her face towards the sky, which seemed so friendly and so near, like a lovely vaulted ceiling, and watched the colours change and flow. Sometimes the clouds made islands, or great mountains, enclosing lakes of dark, deep turquoise blue, or liquid amber, or... I've never seen that word before. Chrysoprase? Chrysoprase green. Sometimes dark headlands jutted into strange lost seas. The sparrows twittered softly around her, and Sarah felt for a moment almost as if she could float away into that sky. But in the end, at last, it was necessary to lower her head again. Wait, what was that? For a moment she thought that she had seen a shape beyond the attic window in the house that the gentleman from India had taken. Perhaps someone was there. Perhaps the window will open and a head. But there was no one. Just a trick of the light. Really splendid sunsets always make me feel as if something strange was going to happen. Perhaps someday it will. Oh, well, 7 pain means we get to talk to Becky. We're in pain, Becky, help. Sarah lay across her bed, feeling too weak and sore to even lift her head. Why did Cook make us fill that basin up in the kitchen when she knew we couldn't lift it high enough to pour it out again? It would have been easier to take it to a pump. Her arms ached, her back ached, her head ached. The pain took precedence over every other sensation, even the cold. I wish Becky were here now, but I can't get up to knock. Not now. And so when the doorknob rattled and turned, Sarah's first reaction was pleasure and relief. Oh, shit. It was short-lived. Hi, Miss Minchin. How you doing? How's your bitch tits going? How you look extra bitchy today? Miss Minchin, she never comes up here. Do not move. Is something wrong? I said do not move. I won't have you hiding the evidence. Evidence of what? Theft. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, okay, so one thing I didn't notice was that we were given a bit of money that Becky had been saving up. So Becky's been saving up a little bit of money here and there, and she said, could you please look after it for us? Because she didn't trust herself not to spend it, or something like that. And we said, oh, okay, yeah, sure, we'll hide it away for you. Well, this is gonna be bad. Miss Herbert has reported that certain valuable items have gone missing, and you are the most logical suspects. Lavinia? Miss, what's going... Oh! No sooner had Becky stepped into the doorway than Miss Minchin grabbed her arm and yanked her inside. Get over there with her, where I can see you. Neither of you is to move until this room has been searched. If I have to strip you, I will. Now move. Yes, Mum. She hurried to Sarah's side, not even daring to whisper a question about what was going on. I've never stolen anything, and Becky wouldn't either. I know she wouldn't. This is just Lavinia trying to make trouble. It's cruel. There was not much to search in the garret. An old trunk in the corner was picked through, then pushed aside when it proved to hold little more than napkins and rubbish. The table, the grate, the footstool, none of these provided many places for stolen treasures to hide. As for the bed... Aha! She produced a battered tin which clankered and rattled as she lifted it. Oh no, Becky's half-shillings! Here we see the proof of these accusations. I am absolutely shocked at this behaviour, Sarah Crewe. Here I have given you a roof over your head and meaningful employment, and this is how you repay me. I'm not a thief. Them's my wages, Mum. So, you would steal even from a fellow servant? I didn't steal anything. Please, Mum, I gave them to her. Miss Minchin scowled. The truth of the matter had to be apparent even to her with the two girls so close. However, to admit it would mean admitting that she had been wrong. A gift? That seems unlikely. Why would a little drudge who had next to nothing give it away? Perhaps you were afraid to tell me the truth. No, Mum. Let me make things clear to you, girl. That one, she indicated Sarah, who furrowed her brow and refused to shrink back, has no possessions other than what I have generously loaned to her. She has no right to any possessions. She is in my debt deeply and utterly. If she stole this money from you, then she will be turned over to the authorities for punishment, and the coins will be returned to you. If you gave her this money, then it belongs to me as payment towards her debts, and I will confiscate it at once. That's not fair. What should I do? I can't say that I stole the money. I wouldn't steal, and I won't lie. But if I don't, then Miss Minchin will take Becky's savings away. She didn't give it to me. I was keeping it safe for her. The money belongs to Becky. Do not speak unless you are spoken to. I am not interested in excuses. There are only two possible outcomes here. Now, make up your mind. What is the truth? Was it a gift or was it stolen? It is entirely your decision. Becky shot a fearful glance at Sarah. Look at me when I am speaking to you. You don't need her help to tell the truth. Make your choice. It's a gift. Very well, then I thank you for your generosity. Before both their eyes, she tipped out the contents of the coin. The coins were few and not even shiny. A moment later, they disappeared into Miss Minchin's pockets. What would the church say to you if they knew what you had done? Don't speak impertinent nonsense. You are not above punishment. Remain here while I search the other room. After all, there are still reports of theft I must investigate. The sound of her heels clacked away into the distance. Oh, Becky, your savings! It weren't nothing, miss. 'Twere only a few coins, nothing important. But it was all the treasure that you had. It's like the Bible story of a widow's 2 mites. A small theft is a very great one if you have so little to begin with. Becky wiped at her face. I couldn't let her take you away, miss. I can't live here without you. I can't. Oh, Becky, you are my treasure. Even after Miss Minchin had finished her inspection and departed, the two little prisoners huddled together. They had nothing else. Aw, Miss Minchin, you bitch! How could... That's just so mean! Sarah stood looking out at the sunset. I mean, Sarah offered a pretty decent, look, I was just taking care of it for her. That was a decent third option. What a bitch. Miss Minchin, you bitch. Well, unfortunately, if we shanked the witch in her sleep, there would be the issue of the boarding house would close, and then we'd be tossed out onto the street anyway, or even worse, get thrown in jail, because this is Victorian London, and they didn't care naught for little girls. She just wanted to act all tough and mighty. I mean, technically she isn't wrong in that we do owe her all that money. Like, by letter of the law, she has the right to do whatever she wants with us. Any money that is ours is tied up to hers, because we basically stayed for free board for quite a while. And she did spend a ton of money on our birthday, even though she didn't have to and she wasn't asked to, but she still did it. And it all came out of her pocket. And it's better in this little living in this little boarding school with what meager things we have, than being tossed out on the streets and being forced to beg to survive, sleep in trash cans and stuff like that. Become Oscar the Grouch. You know how it is. So, technically she is doing a nice thing, but she's still a bitch. The other girls wouldn't join us. Like, they've got their families. Then we're not the only real orphans here is Sarah, who's lost her father now, and Becky. The others all have families, so, you know, then they'd just go home and then they go to another boarding school elsewhere. So that the only ones it'd be causing trouble for would be Becky and Sarah, and they're not old enough to take care of themselves. Sarah stood looking out at the sunset. There were floods of molten gold covering the west, as if a glorious tide was sweeping over the world. A deep reach yellow. A deep reach yellow light filled the air. The birds flying across the tops of the houses showed quite black against it. Sarah sighed to herself as she craned her head upwards. All of a sudden she heard a strange sound. Not a sparrow's chirp, but a strange little squeaky chattering that came from the window of the next attic. Sarah turned, excited. Had someone come at last to watch the sunset as she did? There was a head visible, framed there in the skylight, but it was not the head of a little girl or a tired housemaid. In fact, it was the tufted head of a small black-faced monkey. Ah! Ah! It's kind of cute, but its hands and feet are very, very small. Oh! For Sarah, it was like catching a glimpse of a long-lost friend passing nearby in a crowd. When she had lived with her papa in India, she had played with just such creatures. She had not thought to see them again. She swung the skylight up, leaning out as far as she dared to get a better look. You darling thing, how I wish I could come for a visit. Sorry, my throat's playing up a little. Whew. Alright. Yeah, you can see her clothes are a bit threadbare and, getting a bit short for her. They were old clothes that needed fitted, and the only dowdy clothes she had in her wardrobe, so the bitch let her keep them. As if in answer, the monkey rapped its paw 3 times against the window surface. Then, all at once, it hopped down into its own room, away from the skylight and out of Sarah's view. Sarah waited, hoping that he might return, if only for a moment. I think that I hear him still, chattering away. Perhaps he is swinging from shelf to shelf within their attic, as if it were a jungle. No, I do hear something. A voice was speaking in a low tone, not a monkey, but a man. And then, to her surprise, someone appeared in that attic window, someone with dark skin and brightly embroidered clothing. A Leskar! He held the monkey in his arms, where it snuggled and chirped against his breast. As Sarah looked towards him, he looked toward her. Hello! Sarah had learned for herself how comforting a smile, even from a stranger, might be. Hers was evidently a pleasure to him. He smiled in return, and his whole face was illuminated. Hello, Miss Sahib. You must have come up here from the sun, since it's so seldom seen in England. So, you are what Charan wished for me to see. The monkey brought you here? What a delightful thought that an Indian monkey should bring an Indian man to be my friend. This little one brings me many places. He is forever running into trouble. Oh, hey, Pook Luna Dog. How you doing? He is forever running into trouble and expecting his two friends to protect him. My Indian accent needs a lot of work, by the way, as you could probably tell. I'm stealing it from The Simpsons. Oh, God. I'm terrible. The familiar cadences of his accent washed over Sarah like a summer rain. How long it had been since she had heard such a voice. Forgive me, Miss Sahib. I would open the window to greet you properly, but I fear Charan might try to make an escape. I would not wish to lose him. My friend, my master, is ill, and this creature's mischief provides him much amusement. Too, Charan does not know England or its weather. He might come to harm. Of course, perhaps we'll meet again on another sunset. The sound of his quiet laughter did not pass through the closed window, but the flashing light of his teeth showed his amusement. Until another sunset, Miss Sahib. He disappeared then. She thought it possible that he might have bowed to her, but it was too difficult to tell through a skylight. I wonder if he lives in an attic like me, or if he was only chasing the monkey. I do not know his rank in that household. A 12-year-old alt. As in you're 12? Or the account is 12 years old? Is Twitch well over 12 years old? I don't think it is. I don't fucking know. Oh, altered. I'm like, alt? Altered. Duh. Hi, altered. Oh, I get it. This was your account from when you were 12. Yep. All right. Brain is still working slowly. I got a bit of the snuffles tonight. Must be the cold weather. I hope that England is kinder to him than it was to me. Oh, great. Let's try not to get fatigued. Like everything has fatigue in some way, shape, or form. Alright, let's just go with clothes washing and errand running. Alright. Less likely to get fatigue. Oh, for fuck's sake! Game! Oh, of course it's going to give me all the fatigue in the fucking world. I hate you, game. My fatigue is 20. So, do you hear about the fellow next door? Seems he's not an Oriental or an Indian at all. That's what Sarah said. Luckily for Becky, Cook was not in enough of a temper to clout her for calling Sarah Miss in her hearing. Suppose she'd know all about English gentlemen living in that place. I tell you, if you'd never get me there, not if I had to jump off a boat and swim home. Nothing good ever come from India. It's all tigers and cobras and midges that suck the blood right out of you or spit back poison. It's a wonder the children live long enough to be shipped back here. If only Papa had let me stay there. Anyway, seems that fellow'd gone and run himself in a hole. Thought he lost his old fortune, he did, and drove him to wreck, thinking he was ruined forever. He weren't, of course, still rich as anything, though it'd do him no good if he died of fret. Why, trouble was all about mines, and mines with diamonds in 'em. Could it be our dad? Is our dad alive? No, he'd have come for us if he was alive, right? He definitely would have come for us. Like, Daddy wouldn't leave us here alone, would he? Unless he lost his memory, but I don't see that happening. I mean, you don't lose your memory from being sick. Maybe a friend, maybe the, I know. Maybe it's the friend. Because our dad got into business with a guy who was a friend, sort of like an uncle to us. And he took off during the problem, but maybe that was misinformation. And maybe he is coming to look for us to take us away? I don't know. Like, Dad, they said Dad died, but maybe he didn't. But he would know where he kept us, where he put, although it is awfully suspicious that the place next door is bought. Dad would know where he put us, definitely, because well, then again, we came here by ourselves. Dad never actually met Miss Minchin, or came to this place. So we came by ourselves on the ship here. Maybe Dad didn't know. No savings of mine ever goes into no mines, particularly diamond ones. We all know something of them. Becky gulped and nodded. He felt as my papa felt. He was ill, just like my papa, but he did not die, not yet. Poor man, I hope he will be well. Perhaps he has a child in England as well. For the sake of that child, I would help him in any way I could. Or for his own sake, and the sake of my papa whom I could not save. Well, I'm not dead yet. Oh, God. Wow, Becky, you're not asking much, are you? Sure, let's do it. In the afternoon, there was a knock upon the front door of Miss Minchin's Select Seminary, signalling that the post had arrived. Sarah, who was nearest, laid aside her bucket and brush and went to fetch it. She was just stepping back through the door with a small box and a handful of letters when everything went wrong all at once. The yell of an enraged feline, a series of thumps and bangs, someone falling, the scream of a young girl. Becky! Becky rushed at once to the stairs, discarding the deliveries on a small table as she passed, not even looking to see if they had landed correctly. There was Becky, collapsed against the wall at the foot of the stairs, like a doll that had been thrown away. Oh no! And there was TYBALT, a furious grey streak rushing straight past Sarah's leg, and out the open... Oh, God, no! Everything is going wrong! And out the open door of the school. TYBALT's about the only thing that Miss Minchin likes in this place. Shit. If TYBALT gets hurt or something, we're in fucking trouble. We are in so much trouble. And now Becky's fallen down and... Oh, shit. No! Are you all right? Oh, miss. Though the tears streaked her face surely indicated that she was in pain, Becky was already struggling to get back to her feet. You're hurt. You shouldn't move. We've got to catch him. The missus will hang me by my ears if we don't. Please, miss, my life won't be worth nothing if we lose him. It was, unfortunately, true. Miss Minchin set more value on that cat than on the welfare of any scullery maid. Even if Becky had broken a leg in the fall, she would not be forgiven. There was no time for Sarah to apologize for leaving the door open. To have any hope of recovering TYBALT, they had to act at once. Sarah held out her hands to help Becky up. Can you walk? If you can't, I'll go. I'll be fine, miss. It's only bruises. I've had worse. Oh, TYBALT, you fuck. Get back here. They moved out onto the streets of London together. There, a tail. She kept hold of Becky's hand in case the other girl was unsteady on her feet. You should go back, miss. If the missus thinks we've run off, she might call the coppers. If it's only me. We'll both be punished no matter what happens. If we at least find TYBALT, it'll go easier for us. And we have a better chance if we're both looking. The task could have been much worse. A grey cat, loose in the streets of London, might have vanished entirely, never to be seen again by any but the owners of disreputable pie shops. TYBALT, however, appeared to be playing a game, keeping always out of reach but rarely out of sight. They wove their way from street to street, occasionally having to beg directions of kindly-looking adults who might have seen the grey cat go by. Becky keeps wincing when she thinks I'm not looking. I'm sure she's hurt. I need to get her home. If only that cat would cooperate. The church? There, he's gone inside. Are we allowed, miss? It's not a Sunday. God will understand. Perhaps the angels will guide us. My mother, my papa, and yours. I hope you're right, miss. The two little girls walked on their toes past the empty pews, their thin shoes making little more noise than cat's paws. Becky caught Sarah's arm and pointed to a staircase going up, just as TYBALT padded out of sight. The bell tower! Up and up and up they climbed. There was no sight of TYBALT, but neither were there any exits. He had to be somewhere ahead of them. Becky paused, her hand against the wall, her shoulders heaving. Are you all right? Do you need to rest? I can do it. We're almost there. Ain't we? I hope so. At last they found the door and broke free into the sky. The cat can't open the door, guys. He's got to be inside somewhere. The tower top seemed a desolate place, bare stone walls cut into empty arches that began at waist height. There was no glass, since that would impede the sound of the bells. One could almost reach out and touch the clouds. This high up, on a clear day, the air was even colder than usual. After so many steps, Sarah couldn't help gasping for breath, but that breath locked up in her throat. There was no sign of the tower keeper, nor of any angels, nor of TYBALT. Somehow they had lost him. Sarah's knees gave out. She slid down onto the cold floor, wheezing through her hands as she fought to recapture her strength. Becky didn't look any better. Her face was pale beneath the dirt. She clutched at the window's edges for support. There, as she leaned over, she caught sight of... Miss, there! What? She tried to answer, but the words weren't coming. I can see him, miss. I could just about reach. TYBALT is out on the church roof? Becky, no, you're too weak. It was too late. What? Desperate to retrieve the lost cat, Becky had already begun to climb over the wall. Here, puss. And then the inevitable happened. Becky, no! She lost her balance. Becky! Sarah would never clearly remember those seconds, how Becky screamed, how Sarah leapt from her crouch, how her fingers stretched through the air and caught Becky's hand. Oh, thank God. Oh, I thought it was about to get a lot more grim and dark than it is. Oh, thank God. Also, weren't we wearing grey clothes? Oh my God. The art for this game is really nice, by the way. And caught Becky's hand. Hang on! It wasn't enough. Sarah was too weak, too thin. Her grip kept Becky from plummeting to certain death, but she could not possibly pull her back up. Lift your other arm. Try to grab the edge. Becky flailed upwards, but her fingers fell short of the mark. Hanging, suspended by one arm, put the rest of her body at too much of an angle to reach. I can't. Grab anything. Brace your feet on anything. Just find a way to hold on. Her feet, in their thin shoes, scrabbled against the stones, trying to find a toehold. For a moment the strain on Sarah's arm eased, and then Becky's foot slipped, and the sudden jolt made her socket burn with pain. I'm gonna die. Don't look down, just hold on, Becky, hold on. I'm gonna fall. You can't fall, I'm holding you. But, miss, you can't. I won't let you fall, I promise. Now hold on and don't be frightened. I'm going to scream so someone can hear us, all right? Don't be afraid. Miss... Sarah squeezed her hands tight and shrieked as loudly as she could until her throat ached with the force of it. After all those weeks of being silent in an attic, she felt like her uncaged voice ought to burst loose like a blast of trumpets. But against the vastness of the sky, one little girl's voice was soon swallowed up. When her scream had faded into a raspy cough, Sarah gulped hard and waited for a response. All she could hear was Becky's faint whimpering. She had stopped scrabbling against the wall with her feet now. She was only hanging there, quiet tears gleaming against the dirt on her cheeks. Well, I mean... I don't know which would be better. Trying to wriggle and get up, or just hanging there lifeless. Because on the one hand, you've got the dead weight to consider from just hanging, but you're still going to weigh the same whether you're just hanging or wriggling around. And while you could try and get purchase while you're wriggling around, it's going to make it harder for the person holding on to you. So I'd say maybe the dead weight might be a better idea, so it's not as much trouble to try and pull you up, although it still probably would still be very hard to do. That was it. that was a tangent. Wait a sec. 1 second, guys. That's a little bit better. She was only hanging there, quiet tears gleaming against the dirt on her cheeks. It's going to be all right. The tower keeper will come. The angels will bring him to us. We're so high up. It's easy for them to see us here. You won't fall. I promised you, didn't I? I won't let go. Miss. It was hard to hear her voice now. There was no strength in it. You can't blame yourself. It's all right. What are you saying? You can't hold on forever, miss. I know that. And maybe it won't be so bad. There's heaven, right, miss? Like you always told us. Cities of gold and fields of lilies, and no mismention and never having to work no more. Her arm in Sarah's grip felt cold, as if the life were already leaking away from her. My life weren't never going to get better down here. So don't feel... Fucking trucks! You're running a touching scene here, do you mind? Bloody traffic. This time of night, too. So don't feel bad, miss. If you have to let go, I'll still love you. I'll watch over you with them angels. No! Now you listen to me. You're the most important thing in the world to me, and I will never, ever give up on you. What do you think my life would be like without you? If you slip and fall, I will jump after you. Miss, that's a mortal sin. Then the angels had better hurry up and stop me. That's not proper Christian. I have faith. All of a sudden, Becky's weight shifted ever so slightly in Sarah's arms. Her eyes went wide with panic until she realized that Becky had turned her head to see. TYBALT! Goddamn trucks ruining scenes! I imagine that me pointing them out actually made this scene worse. They were just so goddamn loud. TYBALT! Completely unconcerned, as if she had nothing to do with the drama transpiring around him, the cat sauntered his way along the edge, hopped over, and curled on the floor near Sarah's feet. TYBALT, you fuckhead. You see? There are miracles after all. Yeah, she's still dangling. What? How? And then an angel floated down, picked me up, and put me back on the tower. What the fuck? What, did TYBALT suddenly grow into a human, grab them both, and just throw... He just... Bulking TYBALT is bulky as. Been doing my arm days. Picked them both up, shoved them over his shoulders, jumped down onto the ground, did the old thing, sort of like a Superman sort of thing, and then carried them back to the school and went, yeah. TYBALT, the strong. Fuck you, TYBALT. Fuck you. I'm kind of tempted to draw a picture of that now. A very crappy... You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna do it. I'ma do it. I'ma do this shit. I'ma do this shit, guys. Be prepared for the awesomeness that is me. Drawing. Alright. Let's see. Oh, my wonderful MS Paint skills are going to come and save the day again. It's going to be brilliant. Alright. So, we got the church. Oh, yeah. This is how it is. This is how it is. Everybody loves Libby's drawing montages. Wait a minute. There we go. Do. Alright. Church. Brilliant. It's gorgeous. Shut up. It's wunderbar. Shut up. Don't pick on my awesome church. And then we got sky. That's not the color of the sky. There we go. And then we got the grass. Look. My abilities at drawing are amazing. I don't need people telling me otherwise. Okay, we've got a bit of a foreground perspective happening here. Yeah, boy. Look at that shit. Them angles. Oh, shit. Somebody stop me. There we go. Alright. New layer. TYBALT. You're grey, you fuckhead. Why are you grey? Fine, you know what? We'll make the church a sort of lighter, maybe a creamy. That's not the paint tool. It'll do. Alright, TYBALT. Right. TYBALT has a cat's head. I'm a cat. Meow. And then he's got... That's not how you draw muscles. Oh, yeah. And then he's got that kitty paw. That's not quite right. But you know what? Fuck it. Look. I never said I could... Wait, that's not quite what I want. Fuck. It was perfect. Ooh. Oh yeah. Kitty got them muscles, yo. No. Woof. Woof. Oh, there we go. Kitty paw. Oh yeah, muscles. And then he's got that sort of the sort of crouch thing where the bulging leg muscles of doom come out. Like, yeah. Wait, not quite right. Nope. So there's his leg, and it's sort of like, whoa. That's not quite right either. Whoa, biceps of kitty. Kitty-tude. That's a tail. Don't get any funky ideas, you assholes. I know what you're all like. Alright. This is gonna be the fucking... What is it called? The... That's terrible. What am I drawing? What am I doing? Guys... Why? Why would you? Why would this? Oh yeah. Kitty got them paws, yo. Kitty been working out. Like, oh shit. Give me that. Wait, I need to turn that up a little bit. There we go. Oh, yeah. Get rid of that. Mistakes? What mistakes? Mistakes have not been made. And then the leg with the crouch, and then the foot. Oh yeah, and the foot going up like, oh yeah. And then that's big leg muscle. Fuck. Oh yeah. We got this going on, guys. We got this. It's good. I'm the most amazing drawer that ever drewed. Oh yeah, muscles, muscle kitty, and then a furry, sort of like an ascot, I guess. All right, Tibbles, you fuck. Yeah, I guess that's a little Nope, 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 nope. You know what? That works. Nope. Nope. Get the fucking... There you go. Nope. Yeah. Tibbles. The almighty. Nope. Me. Fucking ow. Come on. Tibbles. For the sake of fuck. Oi. Yeah. Oh yeah. Tibbles the mighty. Alright. This is glorious. Look, you guys done know what you're getting into when you come to a Libby stream. Sometimes you're gonna get crazy shit like this happening, yo. Give me that black. Oh yeah. Tibbles the motherfucking mighty. This is totally gonna be the thumbnail for this episode. You know? Shit. What am I doing with my life? With his tiny little nose. Oh, it'll be saved. Don't you worry. This is going in my fan fiction folder. Oh, motherfucking Tibbles is on the case. Meow. It's not going on either of those places. Don't even. Perfect. Wait, need a little bit of scruffy around the side because Tibbles is a furry cat. I will add it to the game page for this game. Not the game page, you know, the page for this game on Steam, because that would be fucking hilarious. They'd be like, what the fuck is this? And I'll be like, shut up, you don't know fucking shit, man. There you go, Tibble. There you go, Tibble. Tibble the mighty. Now, the girls. Okay. So, skin. We got leg here. Leg here. Because we need those upper panty shots, you know? Bum. I am the best drawer ever. Art and me go along so well. Like, oh my god, guys, you have no idea. Oh. People are gonna be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'll be like, you know what? Nothing. Ain't nothing wrong with me, mateys. Yar, mateys. Ain't nothing wrong with this. Alrighty. TYBALT, the magnificent, the specifically significantly given. Alright, black shoes. Whoop, 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 whoop. Oh, God, I am so good at drawing. Like, oh my God. Somebody said today, Liberty, are you an artist? I motherfucking am. Look at this shit. How could this not be considered art of the highest caliber? It's alright. We'll have a little bit of a... There we go. Panties. But don't worry. She won't be... Oh, shit. Don't do that to me, game. Game? Game? Game! There we go. It's alright. It's alright. We'll cover it up with a dress. What she got? She's got a blacky purpley dress, right? So it's... Whoops! Oh my god. Panty shot. Minor panty shot for win. Look, you just got saved. You're not going to have a lot of, you know... Oh, fuck it. Forget the panty shot. That's just crass. She's 12. God damn it. Liberty, what were you thinking, you idiot? 12. And bums don't show like that through the goddamn dresses. There we go. Whoop, 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 whoop. there we go. Alright, and she's got... Oh, we'll add another layer. This one will go behind. And then we'll just... we'll make that layer a bit bland. And then we'll... Oh, wait. This colour. But we'll make it a bit darker. Because I know all about colour theory. Look, I'm not good when it comes... I'm not good when it comes to drawing. But I know the theory behind the goddamn thing, okay? So, just because I can't draw well doesn't mean I don't understand the theory behind, like, colour theory and shit. Oh, shit, what am I doing? You're a moron, Liberty. You're a moron. There we go. Hand. Hand. Wonderful. Oh my god. I'm free for... I'm free for being hired, people. You want these skills, yo? I know you want these skills. Alright, there's Becky's hair. Well, she's facing down, so of course her hair's going to be a bit mangled and shit. So if we go that like that. See? Look at that shit. That's perfect. Wunderbar. Fuck, I'm gonna have to do the other side. What'd she look like? Black hair. Right. Right. Black hair. Okay. I got this. I got this. Woo! She has short black hair too. That's not how it goes. Liberty, you're an umpty. Chloe's gonna be pissed she missed this awesomeness. Okay. And... Woo! Oh my god. My arms. They're malformed. Why? Why you gotta treat me like this, Creation Sensei? Oh god. And then legs like, woo. Whoopsies. Whoopsies. And then her back like that, like, yo. And then we just, this is going to be glorious when we get to see the full thing. It's just going to be amazing when you see it in full retro color with the background and everything. Like, everybody's going to be so jealous of my elite skills. Joseph? Joseph? No, don't hire Joe for your work. Hire me, Liberty. I will do your face sets for you. They will be glorious. They'll be wonderful. You'll love them. I give satisfaction guarantee that they will be the most unique and interesting. I can't even say that shit with a straight face. Don't hire me for your game. I can do maps. I could do other sorts. I could do edits. I cannot draw for shit. I cannot draw for shit. Alright. There's your dress. It's a pretty shitty dress, but you know what? No, TYBALT. That is not... No, TYBALT. TYBALT, stop. Stop, TYBALT, stop. You're not that color, TYBALT. Her clothes aren't necessarily that color either. But hey, guess what? We saved the girls. TYBALT is Muscle Man. Best cat. Worst fucking cat in the world. Also, it's supposed to be a bit purpley, I guess. So, like that. Yeah. And hers is more black. So, was it? Or was it blue? Oh shit, I forget. Alright. Alright. Motherfucking TYBALT saves the fucking day. Oh wait, I forgot one thing that I need to do. Whoop. 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 Cats have weird feet. Might as well bulge those muscles out a bit, I guess. Yeah. Perfect. Wait a minute. Yeah. That is the question indeed. Which is the shapely one? Wait. No! Z! Z! I'm gonna make these a little thinner. Fucking TYBALT has fucking whiskers. Yeah, TYBALT senpai. TYBALT the fuckface senpai. TYBALT the fuckface senpai was a complete asshole. Maybe we make his nose a bit bigger. Yeah, perfect. Alright, let's see how it goes. Okay. Oh my god, it's beautiful. Let's wait, we need to add another layer just to add a little bit of this, and then we go, yeah, and then we there, just to make it a little bit darker so they stand out. Yeah, okay, let's save that shit. Save as. TYBALT is best cat. Kitty. TYBALT is best kitty. So yeah, I hope you can see that. That is my wonderful piece of art titled TYBALT is best kitty. So there's TYBALT. This is a completely accurate thing of what happened. TYBALT manned up. He said, I got these girls in trouble. It's time for TYBALT to activate his buff mode. He went super buff. He grabbed Becky and Sarah. He slung them over one arm each. And then he jumped off the oh, I forgot to do something. Right. This is what I needed to do. I needed to do some of this. Because he jumped down from that great height. So the ground is sort of cracking beneath his feet from where he jumped. Yeah. Perfect. I guess we could put some trees in the background. Fuck. Let's Bob Ross this. Make that a bit bigger. Get some green happening. Whoa. And then we'll do a little bit of, you know what? Oh yeah, got some art shit happening in the background. Damn, son, I didn't even color in the tree trunks. You know what? I think that's a wrap. I think that works it perfectly. Magnifique. Come for the storyline, stay for the art lessons. Let's get back to the game, shall we? Oh shit. That's gonna be the thumbnail for this episode. Like, fucking shit, man. Fucking shit. And I will add that to the Steam thing. Actually, you know what? Let's do that now. Fuck this. Let's do it. Let's go to... Where's Steam? Steam! I wish to add a... Oh, you can't. Can you? Wait. Little Lily... There we go. Alright, let's see. Fan art. Aw, look at these cute fan arts. Don't look at my messy bullshittery. Where is it? T for TYBALT. T for TYBALT. T for TYBALT. certify that I made this shit. I don't want to put that. Save to the community hub. Enjoy, bitches. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's out there on the internet now, guys. There we have it in all its wonderful glory. Go rate that shit up. Oh my god. Look at that. Oh, it's glorious. Oh, it's wonderful. Oh, it's amazing. Oh god. Wait, I forgot a little disclaimer. There we go. There we go, guys. Fucking hell. TYBALT, you fuck. Wait, let's see. Is it there? It's probably not there yet. Look at this amazing cute stuff. And then... all this amazingly cute stuff. And then... oh, it's not even there yet. Oh, that's cute. Oh my gosh, look at this fucking shit. Look at all this fucking bullshit. Ah! And then there's mine. Which won't show up until, like, it refreshes, but whatever. Okay, back to the game. That was a nice little diversion. Oh, I'm kind of dying inside. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a lot. It was not until much later that night that the two girls were able to return to Miss Minchin's school. The man at the church, yeah, sure. No, they just blacked out. They don't know that it was TYBALT that saved them. They passed out, and TYBALT at the last second grabbed Sarah as she fell over the edge, slung her over his arm, grabbed Becky and pulled her up and slung her over too, and went "Wow!" and just dove off. The man's just making credit, like taking credit for it. And then TYBALT dove off, landed, and then he reverted back to his normal cat, and went "Meow," and dropped them both. And then this man came along and was like, "Oh my god, these two girls are passed out. Excuse me, are you okay?" And they woke up and they're like, "Oh, you saved us." And he was like, "Oh, yeah, well, you know, no big deal." And yes, that's what really happened. Dun dun dun. And TYBALT was just sitting there licking his paw like, meow, meow. Yep, that's totally what happened. Meow. Oh god, I'm so sorry. I'm blaming the apple juice on this. I'm blaming this on the apple juice. It was you, apple juice. Alright, let's get... okay, sanity, return thou to me. Please, I need you. I'm sorry. The man at the church who had finally pulled Becky to safety insisted on escorting the girls back. His presence was welcome, as both girls' arms were so sore and weak that they could not have safely contained TYBALT for the journey. At the door they thanked their good Samaritan and sent him on his way, then shut the door firmly before depositing the cat back into his territory. Oh god, they're gonna get it. There was no sign of Miss Minchin, no hubbub. They'd not been missed at all. Becky could have died today, and no one here will know, or care if they did. It's not right. No one appreciates her as she deserves except for me. No one loves her as they should except for me. And there, as the realization struck her, she froze in place. I love Becky, more than as a friend, more than any princess loved her king. It felt selfish and prideful to place herself above others in that way, but in that moment Sarah's heart was overflowing. But what can I do? What can I do? We are both prisoners here. We are helpless, and Miss Minchin will grind us down to nothing. No, no matter how bad it seems, life has to be better. It just has to be. Miracles happen. Good people still exist. I will always believe that. New week. New chores. Oh. Sarah's growing sympathy for her neighbour added a new possibility to any errand she might be sent on in the evenings. There was the chance that his curtains might not be drawn, and she might be able to see inside. When that was the case, if no one was about, she would stop and take hold of the iron railings, looking into those warm rooms and wishing good thoughts to her adopted friend. Perhaps kind thoughts reach people somehow, even through windows and doors and walls. Perhaps you feel a little warm and comforted and don't know why. The man sat alone in an armchair by the fire, nearly always in a great dressing gown, nearly always with his forehead resting in his hands as he gazed hopelessly into the fire. He always seems as if he were thinking of something that worries him. He's got his money back, so he ought not to look like that. I wonder if there is something else. I hope you will get well and happy again. I'm so sorry for you. I wish you had a little missus who could pet you as I used to pet Papa when he had a headache. I should like to be your little missus myself, poor man. Good night, good night. God bless you. She would go away feeling quite comforted and a little warmer herself. Her sympathy was so strong that it seemed as if it must reach him somehow. On this day, although Sarah's viewpoint through the window would not allow her to see it, the man in the house was not alone. Carmichael, I cannot believe that the wretched woman has disappeared without a trace. With the loss of her two best-paying pupils in such a short time, Madame Pascal's finances were in great disarray. She apparently found it necessary to close her school entirely. It was something of a scandal in Paris, which turned out to our benefit. Without those rumours, we might not have found the child's trail so quickly. But your sources have no idea what might have happened to her after that. As the story goes, after her father's death left her unprovided for, she was then adopted, taken in by the parents of the little girl who had so recently died at that same school. What is this? So he is looking for a little girl whose father died. I'm thinking he's looking for Sarah. But there's a rumor that she got adopted by somebody whose parents died, whose daughter died. But no one's daughter died in the school that we're in. The two girls had been close companions before the accident, you see. After that, a child without parents and parents without a child. It seemed the best solution all around. So this family, who were extremely well-to-do Russians, took the child off her hands. And after that, Madame Pascal found herself in difficulty and absconded. I have not been able to contact her. Pascal. Was that the name of our maid? Was it Josephine? 'Cause she left. She got kicked out, basically, and left us. But our father would have known to look for her, or, friends of our father who gotten the details would have known to look for her. Because she was hired to take care of us, so she was a link to us. I'm mightily confused. And I think of all the dreadful things that could happen in this world to a child without protection. If this is the child you're in search of, she would seem to be in the hands of people who can afford to take care of her. But you say if the child was the one in which I search of. You say if. We are not sure. Without Madame Pascal's confirmation of the father's identity, we cannot be certain. Still, the circumstances were curiously similar. An English officer in India had placed his motherless little girl at the school. He died suddenly after losing his fortune. If you're certain that the child was left at a school in Paris, it seems most likely that she is the one. No, it's not. Oh, I know what's going on here. Okay, so it was. This guy is looking for Sarah, but they've gotten confused. They think she was in a boarding school in Paris when he sent her to London instead. they might be looking in Paris because Pascal is French. Our maid was French. Oh, I'm piecing it together. Ooh, my brain works. So, piecing it together, because our maid was French, they might assume that that we went to a boarding school in Paris with Pascal. But we didn't. We came to London, and we are living in London because our father decided to send us to a London boarding school, not a French one, an English, not a French one. So they think they're looking for the little girl of our father's daughter, us, but they think we're somewhere in Paris, but they're not sure if that's really us. But this guy seems to think it is, but the other guy, red robe guy, seems to think that's not quite true, or they have to be certain, absolutely certain. How are we going to run into these people and let them know? My dear fellow, I am never certain of nothing. That's a double negative, dude. Oh, I'm certain of nothing. Okay, that's not a double negative. You're right, I'm sorry. I never saw either the child nor her mother. The mother was a French woman. Yes, that's right, our mother was French too. Of course. We can speak flawless French. So, and a smattering of other languages. But we, our mother was French, and our father was English, and he went to India, and after we were born, took us with him. He was a soldier, and he went to India, and he made a living there. Then when we got old enough, he sent us back to England, where he came from, not France, where our mother came from. That's why. And I heard she wished her child to be educated in Paris, but I do not and cannot know. As if drawn by the sound of raised voices, the Lascar whom Sarah had seen in the attic entered, bringing a tea service with him. Rest yourself, Sahib. You do no good if you are not well. That is more Russian than it is. Oh shit. No, oui, mon cher. That's French. No. What's my hello? Welcome to Quickie Mart. There we go. And the way to get into voices is to have a certain line or a certain action tied to that voice, so you can just do that action to get the voice back. So for Valley Girl, basically what I do is I look at my nails and I'm like, oh my god. So it's like I put my hand out. You know the usual teenage high schooler like Valley Girl thing where she spreads fingers and like looks at nails like, oh my god, I totally have a hangnail. That kind of thing. That action sort of brings to mind the characterization, I guess. So it could be a line. It could be something like, French is vi, mon cher. so I have these sort of little shortcuts, I guess you could say. Hello, welcome to Quickie Mart. And that's my Indian one, because fucking Simpsons. Not that my Indian one is any good, but still. Rest yourself, Sahib. You'll do no good if you are not well. He accepted a cup with a sigh. You're right as always, Ram. Still, I must find the girl. If she is alive, she is somewhere. If she is friendless and penniless, it is through my fault. Why was I not man enough to stand my ground back when things looked black? My poor Ralph put into the scheme every penny that he owned. He trusted me. He loved me. Oh, this is him. This is the friend. Oh, so yeah, Dad went into a partnership with his friend. His friend took off when it looked like it was going bad. Took off with a bunch of money, and our dad got so stressed out, and then he got sick and died. So this is the friend who took off, and he's now looking for us. Oh my god. Okay. And he died thinking I had ruined him. I, Tom Carrisford, who was at Eton closer than a brother to him. What a villain he must have thought me. Ramdadas. You know what they say. Oh my god, what am I doing? Ramdas rested a comforting hand on his master's frail shoulder. You are ill, Sahib. Your mind was not whole. You are not to blame. Overwhelmed with despair and half delirious with fever because I was weak. And then I ran away and collapsed in the jungle alone. I thought I wanted to die. I know well that I nearly died. He looked up at Carmichael with a self-deprecating smile. It was only thanks to Ram Dadass. I'm sorry that I was discovered and brought back to the hospital in time. If you had no strength of heart, Sahib, you would not have survived those 2 weeks of fever. Mr. Carrisford reached up and clasped the other man's hand. You are too good to me. Mr. Carmichael harumphed gently, reminding them of his presence in the room. Yes, well, when I returned to consciousness, poor Crewe was dead and buried, and my own mind was in a haze. I did not recall the child's existence for weeks, and I have never been able to remember her name. Surely he must have spoken of her to you. Anything he said about the school could be a clue. With nothing more to go on, it will be difficult for me to tell if we have found the right girl. Unscrupulous people might not hesitate to provide a false heiress. He used to call her by an odd pet name he had invented. He called her his little missus. But the wretched diamond mines drove everything else out of our heads. Well, don't despair. We shall find her yet. According to my Paris sources, the good-hearted Russians who left Madame Pascal's school were named Anisimov. They most likely lived in Moscow. I will go there and see what can be learned. If I were able to travel, I would go with you, but I can only sit here wrapped in furs and stare at the fire. I am useless. You are improving. If I travel to Moscow, and that is not Ralph Crewe's child, I will return. By then I am sure you will be able to move on to Paris with me to continue the search. Have faith. Carrisford shook his head. When I look into the fire, I seem to see Crewe's gay young face glazing back at me, waiting for me to reassure him, and I cannot answer. If only we had never parted or never reunited. Is that truly what you wish, Sahib, that you had stayed together? No, of course not. It would have come to the same end in time if we had travelled to France together as we once planned, and yet better by far that I had never found him again than to know that it was I who brought him to ruin. I must not fail him now, whatever the cost. Oh. Alright, let's do some kitchen duty. I think we're fine with what we're doing here. Yeah, a bit of hunger's fine. A bit of cold's okay. We can deal with a little fatigue. A bit more cold. We're going to have to stop doing cold and a bit of pain. So, we're not too bad. Oh, that's a lot of chill. 8 chill in one go, wow. Sarah sat upon her hard attic bed, looking down at her feet, which were red and throbbing. Emily, as always, smiled absently in the proceedings. She was not sitting up quite straight today, and Sarah had bumped against her chair and not yet taken the time to right her. It has been hard to be a princess today, Emily. It has been harder than usual. It gets harder as the weather grows colder and the streets get more sloppy. When Lavinia laughed at my muddy skirt as I passed her in the hall, I thought of something horrible to say all in a flash, and I only just stopped myself in time. You can't sneer back at people like that if you are a princess, but you have to bite your tongue to hold yourself in. I bit mine. She drew her knees up to her chest, wrapping her arms around her legs. It was a cold afternoon, Emily, and it will be a colder night. Quite suddenly she put her dark head down against her arms. Oh, Papa, what a long time it seems since I was your little missus. There was no answer. After a few moments she lifted her head again, smiling as bravely as a soldier. The sun is setting, Emily. We mustn't waste it. I never guessed how short these days in England could be in winter. I must bid a good night to the sun so that it does not decide to leave us completely. The sun might be more comfortable in India, but we need it here. With that bit of self-encouragement, she managed to climb to her feet and raise the skylight to let in the sun. No sooner had she swung up the window than a bundle of fur blurred through the opening, alighting solidly on Sarah's shoulder with its paws before springing off again. It was the monkey Chiran. Oh dear, he got loose. He landed on her bed then and scampered towards her pillow, then swung himself around and into the darkness beneath the bed frame, with only the long curve of his tail still in sight. Sarah looked quickly at the door to her room to be sure that it was closed. Miss Minchin would be furious at such a creature running loose through her school. But what was she to do with him? Helpless, she stuck her head back out of the skylight and found the concerned face of the Lascar there, opposite. "Miss Sahib, have you seen—" "Oh, sir, Charan has come through my window. Should I try to catch him for you? He is hiding under my bed." There was an angry chittering. She looked down to see that the monkey was now running across the floor towards the rusty grate. "Ah, Miss Sahib, it would not be wise. He is a good monkey, and will not bite unless one pulls at his tail, but he is very difficult to catch. He flies like the lightning when he wishes. He does not know you, and I do not think he will allow you to catch him. Even myself he obeys only when he chooses, but he is not wicked, only playful. I believe that I might be able to coax him, if it is allowed that I enter." "Oh, that's stranger danger! Stranger danger! Stranger danger!" "He is very polite. He must be concerned that I will think it a great liberty for a strange man to enter my rooms, as if they were truly mine." Like a grand hostess, she spread an encompassing arm. If you can cross the rooftop safely, then enter and be welcome on your quest. Charan is running from side to side of the room now. I don't think he is happy here." The rooftops of London were a treacherous terrain of loose, damp tiles, slanting surfaces, and terrifying drops. Only the direst of threats could ever coax Sarah out of her window. "I don't know. The assassins in Assassin's Creed seem to find them quite easy to run across." "Sarah, I think you need training in guts, girl." The Lascar, however, slipped across and through as easily as if he had been walking on roofs all of his life. He landed on Sarah's little bed with scarcely a sound, and then to the floor, where he bowed a salaam to her. It was the first time she had seen him so clearly. The look of him, the colour and fabric of his attire, still evoked that painful half-familiarity of her lost memories, but the man himself was unusual. His bow had been as deep and polite as any Indian servant's, but he moved as lightly as a magician and stood with strong shoulders of a soldier. His eyes and smile were warm, if enigmatic, and the knife on his belt he wore with confidence. "Oh, he is like a character in a fairy tale, the brave wanderer who will surpass all the witches' challenges." And for that reason he remained fixed in Sarah's mind as the Lascar, and it did not occur to her to ask his name or to provide her own. "Thank you for your hospitality, Miss Sahib." His eyes swept the room, and Sarah felt a sudden surge of shame. "Everything here is dirty and ragged, including me. I am no longer fit to be called Sahib." But if he had such thoughts, he did not voice them. "Now for this little one." It was not a very long chase. The monkey prolonged it a few minutes, evidently more for the fun of it, but presently he sprang chittering onto the man's shoulders. "You see, he is hard to catch when he is running, but when he wishes, he will come to a friend. He is like a child to me, and my master. Many thanks, Miss Sahib, for your aid. Perhaps if you meet again, Charan will know you as a friend." "I hope so." He did not presume to stay long within her rooms, but salaamed again and made a swift exit. It gave Sarah a wistful sort of pain to recall that she, the drudge whom the cook had insulted less than an hour ago, had once been surrounded by people who salaamed just so whenever she went by. What a kind man! He could not help but see how shabby this room of mine is, but he still spoke to me as if I were someone important and valuable. She walked around her room, setting Emily back in place upon her chair and righting any other objects disarrayed by the monkey's passage. If only we, all of us, could go back to India together. Oh, we need more pride. And it needs to be week 36. Well, no event this week. Bugger. The days continued to grow colder and the nights longer. There were days in which Sarah tramped through snow when she went on her errands. There were worse days when the snow melted and combined itself with mud to form slush. On such days, the study in which the Indian gentleman sat glowed with warmth and rich colour, but the little attic at Miss Minchin's was dismal beyond words. Becky sometimes crept into Sarah's room, and the two of them would huddle together under a shared blanket for warmth. If 'tweren't for you, miss, and your stories of the Bastille and being prisoners together, I think I should die here. Seems too real now, don't it? The missus is more like a head jailer every day she lives. I can just see them big keys you say she carries. And Cook's like one of the under jailers having relations with the army man that helped throw over them nobles. Tell me some more, please, miss. Tell me about the subterranean passages we dug under the walls. I'll tell you something warmer. I'll tell you about the tropical forest where Chiran, the monkey from next door, used to live. I've seen him sometimes, looking out the window with that mournful expression. I always feel sure he is thinking about the tropical jungle where he used to swing by his tail from coconut trees. I wonder if he was captured to make a pet, or if he chose to leave the trees to make friends with tall people. That is what the Lascar called himself, one of Chiran's tall friends. I wonder if he left a family behind who depended on him to bring home coconuts. Ain't coconuts them big round hard ones, miss? Can a monkey eat that? They beat them against rocks to crack them, then pull them apart with their paws. It must be hard work for a small creature. Perhaps Chiran grew tired of fetching food and leapt from the trees to land on the shoulder of a passing Lascar and became his friend, so that someone else would feed him. Imagine being a monkey with your own fur coat and friends to bring your meals. That is warmer, miss. But some ways, even the Bastille is sort of eaten when you get to telling about it. That is because it makes you think of something else. She wrapped the coverlet around herself until only a hint of her face could be seen in shadow. What you have to do with your mind when your body is miserable is make it think of something else. Can you do it, miss? Sometimes I can, and sometimes I can't, but when I can, I'm all right. I believe we always could, if we practiced enough. When things are horrible, just horrible, I can think as hard as ever I can of being a princess. I say to myself, I am a princess, a fairy princess, and because I am a fairy, nothing in this world can truly hurt me. I could believe you was a fairy easier than I could believe me, miss. You have to practice harder, that's all. We're nothing different, you and I. Now close your eyes and think about flowers, bright and red and beautiful, nodding in the sunlight.
Alright, we need to get some pride happening. Alright. Well, we'll try for that. We'll try for... what else? That. We'll do 2 of that. We'll do some clothes washing. Sure. No! Pride! Pride me! Yes! More pride! That's not... oh, shit. Oh. Alright. No, that's okay. I thought we had chills, but no, we didn't get any chills. That's good. That's good. That's good. So we've got enough pride. Hopefully it'll last the week, but we'll see. On nights when Becky was kept busy too long to join Sarah in her room, the attic seemed even more desolate. When the fog hung heavy, there was no light at all to be had, and Sarah was forced to beg a candle from Cook in order to see at all. Even that comfort could be snatched from her at any moment when cold draughts raced and rattled through the empty spaces. Sarah lay on the starless black, unable to sleep, unable to move. There seemed no hope to be found. I think Becky was right, Emily. Even Emily could not be seen in the gloom. Sarah closed her eyes. I shall die here. I can't bear this. I'm cold, I'm wet, I'm starving to death. I've walked 1,000 miles today, and they've done nothing but scold me from morning until night. Cook keeps punishing me for not being fast enough. I've had no supper again. I've tried to pretend that I have, but you aren't listening, are you, Emily? I told Becky we were just the same, but all that means is that neither one of us is a princess. Maybe there aren't any princesses, not anywhere, and we only dreamed that there were. This is all there is, work and pain and being hungry forever and always. Sarah lay there with her eyes closed and her body trembling. She could not remember the moment when, at last, she fell asleep. Oh, don't die. Alright, we'll need to get a bit more hunger and a bit more pain, as terrible as it sounds. Not long ago, Sarah Crewe had been a beautiful child, but lack of food does no good to anyone, unless to a girl still in the course of growing. She was constantly cold and hungry and tired, and the stress and the pain of it gave her face a pinched expression. Now and then some kind-hearted person passing her in the street glanced at her with sudden sympathy, but she did not notice. She hurried on, trying to make her mind think of something else. She fought to suppose and pretend, even as the muddy water squelched through her broken shoes. Suppose I had dry clothes on. Suppose I had good shoes and a long thick coat and wool stockings and a whole umbrella. And suppose, just when I was near the baker's where they sold hot buns, I should find sixpence which belonged to nobody. And suppose that I should go into the shop and buy 6 of the hottest buns and eat them all up without stopping. Some very odd things happen in the world sometimes. She had to cross the street just when she was saying this to herself. The mud was dreadful, and she almost had to wade. She picked her way as carefully as she could, looking down at her feet to choose her steps. And just as she reached the pavement, she saw something shining in the gutter. It was actually a piece of silver, a tiny piece trodden upon by many feet. Not quite a sixpence, but the next thing to it, a 4-penny piece. In 1 second, it was in her cold little hand. "Oh, it's true, it is true. It is like magic." She looked up at the shops facing her. There, not a few steps away, was a baker's shop, and a cheerful woman with rosy cheeks was putting into the window a tray of delicious newly baked buns. It almost made Sarah feel faint for a few seconds. The shock and the sight of the buns and the delightful odours of warm bread floating up through the baker's cellar window. She knew she need not hesitate to use the little piece of money. It had evidently been lying in the mud for some time, quite forgotten by its owner in the stream of people passing by. And yet it did not feel quite right. It was like magic, and magic in all her fairy tales always came with a test. It was then that Sarah caught sight of the child. There were beggar children all over London. When Sarah had been wealthy, she saw them often and gave them pennies when she could. In her more recent suffering, she had rarely had time to notice these others. This was a little figure who was not much more than a bundle of rags from which small, bare, red, muddy feet peeped out, because the rags with which their owner was trying to cover them were not long enough. Above the rags peered a shock head of tangled hair and a dirty face with big, hollow, hungry eyes. Sarah knew they were hungry eyes the moment she saw them, and she felt a sudden sympathy. The eyes were watching her. They expected nothing more than to be passed by as always, and yet Sarah felt compelled to approach the owner of those eyes and speak. Are you hungry?" "Ain't I just?" Her voice was hoarse and raspy with the cold, but Sarah could understand her perfectly. "When was the last time you ate?" "Dunno. Never got nothing today, nowhere. I've asked and asked. No dinner, nor yet breakfast, nor yet no supper, no nothing." Just to look at her made Sarah feel more hungry and faint. "If I'm a princess, then. When they were poor and driven from their thrones, they always shared with the populace. If they met one poorer and hungrier than themselves, they always shared. This is one of the populace." Clutching her silver coins, Sarah went into the warmth of the baker's shop and ordered 4 currant buns, the sort that were 1 for a penny. The baker was a good-natured woman, and seeing such a cold and hungry child in front of her, slipped 6 buns into the paper bag, insisting that the extra 2 were only for make-weight. Sarah made her thanks, and hurried from the shop so as not to get in the way of more important customers. The hot buns, even in their bag, warmed her hands. The beggar's girl was still huddled up on the corner of the step. She looked frightful in her wet and dirty rags, and stared straight in front of her with a glazed look of suffering. Sarah took out 1 of the buns and, with a pang, set it on the child's lap. "See, this is nice and hot. Eat it, and you will not feel so hungry." The child started and stared up at her, as if such sudden, amazing good luck almost frightened her. Then she snatched up the bun and began to cram it into her mouth with great wolfish bites. Sarah took out 2 more buns and set them down. 3 and 3, that was an even share. The sound of the child's hoarse, ravenous voice nearly choking in delight as she gobbled her food was awful. "She is hungrier than I am. I have a place to sleep at night, and Miss Minchin feeds me sometimes." But her hand trembled as she set down the 4th bun. That left Sarah with 2, 1 bun for each hand to keep them warm. "She is starving. I am not starving." She put down the 5th bun and turned away. The little London savage was too busy devouring to give any thanks, even if she had never been taught politeness, which she had probably not. Sarah found some comfort in her remaining bun. At all events, it was very hot, and it was better than nothing. As she walked along, she broke off small pieces and ate them slowly to make them last longer. Suppose it was a magic bun, and a few bites were as much as a whole dinner. I should be overeating if I took more than one. That is just the way that magic works. It gives you just enough. I don't need anything more.
She's so nice!
Alright, what do we want? We want some hunger and some pain. Let's try that. Where's another pain? Pain. And there's some pain there. Alright, let's do this. You asshole! Okay, fine. That's cool. Okay. So, we're full of fatigue. We've got enough hunger and pain and pride to do the thing with Becky. Good. When the weather was bad, Sarah and the other servants were especially busy making sure that mud and ice did not invade the entrance hall. While she scraped and toiled, many events took place around London of which she had no knowledge. A kindly baker, moved by seeing a cold and hungry child give away most of her buns to one even less fortunate than herself, offered to take the beggar child in. Ah! A large family of children, once glimpsed in their Sunday carriage, laughed over their father's letters and promises to bring them pictures of muziks and droshkis when he returned from Moscow. And in Miss Minchin's attic, someone stealthily opened the skylight from the outside. Ah! He let himself down through the aperture with such lightness and dexterity that he made only the slightest sound, but that was enough to frighten a curious rat back into his hiding hole. Forgive me, I do not come to harm your mistress. Few would waste politeness on a rat and consider it to be a pet, but this man knew that Sarah was not as other children. He had watched her in secret, seen how she made friends of all the little things around her, the rats, the sparrows, even the sky she greeted as if it could hear her. By the mistress of this house, she is treated like a pariah, but she has the bearing of a child who should be the blood of kings. First he went to the narrow bed. He pressed his hand upon the mattress, then lifted the covering and examined the one thin pillow. To the rusty fireplace then, examining the grate, which had not seen a fire in many days. The old table, the tattered footstool, Emily's chair, each was carefully tested and set back as it had been. At last he looked at the walls. From his pocket he carefully withdrew a number of small, sharp nails. Without the aid of a hammer, he pressed them one at a time into the crumbling plaster. He looked around, nodded, then pulled himself out into the skylight, and withdrew as swiftly and silently as he had entered, leaving no sign. What is that about? Some nails? And testing her furniture? I'm surprised that he didn't make a remark about Emily, since she's clearly out of place. I think the writers forgot that Emily was there. Honestly. Alright, let's talk to Becky some more. Sarah sat on her bed, clutching at her shoulder. She had felt something inside of it stretch and pull in a way that muscles shouldn't earlier that day. Now every time she moved that arm too suddenly, a sharp pain interfered. Ow. There's nothing broken. It's only sore. If I have time to rest, I'm sure it will be all right. If I had a few days to rest in a warm bed and a good meal. If my papa were here. But I can't have any of those things ever again. She looked over at Emily's serene doll face and managed a faint smile. I'll just have to be thankful for what I do have. Isn't that right? There's you and there's Becky, and as long as I have my little kingdom to defend, I am still a princess. That's what makes a princess, not being beautiful or owning heaps of jewels or getting your own way. A princess protects her people. She looked around at her little kingdom, the cold grate, the cracked wall and its family of rats, the window where sometimes she could see the birds gather. If I were a fairy princess, I would summon up birds and have them weave a beautiful gown for Becky. And I would turn the rats into fine white horses to draw her carriage, just like Cinderella. We could spend Christmas riding around London in a magical carriage and scattering largesse to the orphans and the workhouse girls. It was a lovely warm imagining, and it kept Sarah quite distracted for some time, picturing the lights of the carriage and the sounds of the wheels and hooves over cobblestone roads. Then, in an instant, she sat bolt upright. Another sound had intruded onto her consciousness. It was not on the slates of the roof, but from the stairs below. It was Miss Minchin's voice, and she was angry. "She's scolding Becky. She's making her cry." Miss Minchin was almost never willing to exert herself and climb the last flight of stairs, only when she had some vicious purpose, as when she had come to accuse Sarah of theft. But now she was angry enough to be coming at least part of the way up, and it sounded as if she were driving Becky before her. "You impudent, dishonest child! Cook tells me she has missed things repeatedly." "'Twa'n't me, Mum. I was hungry enough, but 'twa'n't me, never." "You deserve to be sent to a prison, picking and stealing. Half a meat pie, indeed." "'Twa'n't me. I could have had a whole one, but I never laid a finger on it." Sarah cringed at the distant sound of a slap and a body bumping into the wall. "Don't tell falsehoods." "She wouldn't." Sarah stood in the middle of the room in the darkness. She was clenching her little teeth and opening and shutting fiercely her outstretched hands. "Now go to your room this instant." Sarah heard Becky run in her slipshod shoes up the stairs and into her attic. She heard her door shut and knew that she threw herself upon her bed to cry into her pillow. "I could have eaten 2 of 'em, and I never took a bite. 'Twas cook gave it to a policeman." It was too much. Sarah could no longer stand still and bear it. She burst out of the room and tore down the stairs, barely able to keep her balance to face Miss Minchin. "Oh, this will not go well." You wicked, cruel thing. Cook takes things herself and then says Becky steals them. She doesn't. "Do you dare criticize your betters?" You are no one's betters. 'Tis you who are the thieves, Cook and you both. You stole Becky's wages. You know how little she had, and you stole it anyway. Becky nearly died trying to save your cat just to please you, and you never thank her for anything, so she's so hungry sometimes that she eats crusts out of the ash barrel." Such impudence! Well, it is only to be expected. With a sinking heart, Sarah realized that her righteous tirade had failed to thaw Miss Minchin's heart at all. If anything, it had hardened it. She had lost her temper, abandoned the composure which had given her strength throughout her trials, and now her enemy was smiling. "I have been too lenient with you girls in light of your youth. Clearly more discipline is required. You will go to your room, Sarah, and you will stay there. Neither you nor Becky will have anything to eat tonight, or tomorrow either. Perhaps that will make some impression upon you." Being angry only acknowledges her power over us. And so Sarah squeezed her hands into fists, but did not raise them. She spoke in a voice that was only slightly trembling. "Yes, ma'am." "Now, Sarah." "Yes, ma'am." She turned step by step in the darkness alone. She climbed the attic stairs. There was no friendly voice waiting for her in her room, only the soft echo of Becky's sobs. "I can't protect anyone." She reached for her pillow, then bit her lip as pain flared inside her shoulder. "I'm useless." Carefully she laid her thin body down upon the bed. "I'm not a princess at all." "Aww." Sarah did not know how long she slept that night, but she had been tired enough to sleep deeply and profoundly, too deeply and soundly to be disturbed by anything. When she awoke at last, it was slowly and sleepily, as one who is not quite sure where the boundaries lie between waking and dreaming. She felt warm, comfortable, perhaps even too warm, and that, of course, she could not believe. The attic was never so warm and cozy except in her most beautiful supposings. "What a nice dream. I don't want to wake up." But even though she kept her eyes closed tightly, she could not stay asleep. Something in the room was forcing her to awaken. It was a sense of light and a sound, the sound of a crackling, roaring little fire. What could it be? "Oh, wow. Yeah, this got a little makeover." "Oh, I haven't awakened. I am dreaming yet." She sat up, resting on her elbow, and her breathing came fast. "It isn't melting away? I've never had such a dream before." She scarcely dared to stir, but at last she pushed the bedclothes aside and put her feet on the floor. "I can smell it. I can smell the fire. And food. It feels real, but it can't be. It's bewitched, or I'm bewitched, and I only think I see it all. Oh, but if I can only keep on thinking it, I don't care." She sprang up, touched the table, the dishes, the rug. She went to the bed and touched the blankets. She looked at the soft wadded dressing gown, and suddenly clutched it to her breast and held it to her cheek. It's warm, it's soft, it's real, it must be. She almost staggered to the books and opened the one which lay upon the top. Something was written on the flyleaf. To the little girl in the attic from a friend. When she saw it, she put her face down upon the book just for a moment and burst into tears. Someone cared. In a moment she collected her wits and ran to the attic door to signal her companion. Becky, Becky, wake up, come and see. Miss? Becky stared around the room, her eyes moving from one item to another, growing larger with every moment. The soft slippers, the fire, the books, around and around her gaze went until she looked quite dizzy with it all. Oh, miss, how can it be? I don't know. Maybe it was magic after all, the magic that won't ever quite let the worst things happen. She removed the covers from the dishes on the table. Look, Becky, muffins, still warm. If it's magic, miss, then do you think it could melt away? Hadn't we better enjoy it quick? And she picked up a muffin and crammed as much as she could into her mouth all at once. Stop, you'll make yourself sick. Maybe we do only have this for a moment, but if that's so, we should enjoy it as best we can. And that means eating slowly enough that we taste it. They sat before the blazing fire and ate the warm, nourishing food, and they could not help looking at each other in a kind of joyous wonder. The sleepy comfort which at length almost overpowered them was a heavenly thing. It was the drowsiness of happy, well-fed childhood, and they sat in the fire's glow and luxuriated in it. Reckon we better get down to work, miss, unless the magic's gone and made Miss Minchin disappear too. I suppose you're right. We wouldn't want her to come up here looking for us now. I don't know if this will still be here when we get back. Maybe it was only lent to us for one day because we needed it so badly. If it ain't here in the evening, miss, it's been here this morning anyways, and I shan't ever forget it. They looked at each other at each particular thing and pointed to them in turn, as if to record them in their memory. The fire was there, and the table was before it, and the lamp was there with its light rosy red. And there was satin on your bed, and there was soup and sandwiches and muffins, there was. Together, still wrapped in the warmth of their secret, Becky and Sarah walked down the narrow attic stairs back to their lives of drudgery. Yet Sarah could not help but be changed by the experience. She walked into the schoolroom with a springing step, colour in her cheeks and a smile hovering about the corners of her mouth. Her high spirits were quite astonishing to see, especially to one who had expected her to be humbled and weakened. What is the meaning of this? You do not look as if you realize that you are in disgrace. Are you absolutely hardened? I beg your pardon, Miss Minchin. I know that I am in disgrace. Be good enough not to not to forget it and look as if you have come into a fortune. It is an impertinence. And remember that you are to have no food today. Yes, Miss Minchin. If the magic had not saved me just in time, how horrible it would have been. Yay, go magic! Or go Indian guys who help themselves into our room, I guess? Let's go for some pride. There we go. Yeah, let's tend fires and do the kitchen duty. No, we don't want fatigue. We want more hunger. Yes, that's what we want. Hunger and pride? Okay, I can deal with that. Alright, fine. That'll do. The gifts in the attic had not disappeared. In fact, they had increased. That first night, Becky and Sarah had returned to the attic to find the table set once more, now with cups and plates for both of them, a new supper, and a vase with fresh flowers on the mantelpiece. After that, there seemed no pattern to it, but every day or so some new comfort or wonder would materialize when no one was watching. The ugly walls were covered with pictures and draperies. Books were stacked into place. The remains of old meals were cleared away, and new food left in its place. It is exactly like something fairy come true. Is this my garret? Am I the same cold, ragged, damp Sarah? And to think I used to pretend and wish there were fairies. I feel as if I might be a fairy myself and able to turn things into anything else. I feel as if I might wish for things, diamonds or bags of gold, and they would appear. As best she could manage, she split her bounty with Becky. The furnishings were difficult for a little girl to move unheard on her own, and the books were of no interest to her friend, but other things could be shared. The new mattress had appeared, and so Sarah's old thin one was moved and stacked atop Becky's, along with half of the new blankets and pillows, and Becky proclaimed it the most comfortable sleep she'd ever had. "But where does it all come from, miss? Who does it? Isn't it more beautiful not to know? It's just that—" Becky pointed to the yellow and white lilies in the vase, whose petals erupted like a joyous shout. "I remember you telling stories about heaven, miss, and the fields of angels. Do you think it's the fields of lilies? Do you think it's angels come to help us? 'Cause if it is, miss, I think I'd better get back to church right quick to say my thanks." "It's a nice thing to do, whether it's angels or fairies or something else. But let us not try too hard to solve the riddle. If it is fairies, they might disappear if we try to catch them." Elsewhere, others were still unaware of the magic, but not blind to its effects. Sarah Crewe looks quite unusual lately. Absolutely fattening, I'd say. Don't know how she done it, considering. Don't be ridiculous. She has always had plenty to eat. I have provided for her out of my own generosity. As you say, ma'am. There is something very disagreeable in seeing that sort of thing in a child of her age. Might also be called defiance. I heard a story among the girls once about that Sarah and her saying what might happen if people find out she really were a princess. Rubbish. Don't talk nonsense. I don't know why I'm speaking to you anyway. Get back to your work. Yes, ma'am. At the beginning of the next week, a man knocked on the door of Miss Minchin's school. When Sarah was sent to answer it, she found no one there, only a selection of parcels. She laid the two largest parcels on the hall table and was looking at the address when Miss Minchin came down the stairs and saw her. "Take the things to the young lady to whom they belong. Don't stand there staring at them." "They belong to me." "To you? What are you talking about?" "I don't know where they came from, but they are addressed to the little girl in the right-hand attic. And that is where I sleep. Becky has the other one." "Open them at once." Sarah did as she was commanded. Inside the packages were pretty and comfortable clothing, dresses, shoes, stockings, and gloves, and a beautiful coat. There was even a nice hat and an umbrella. They were all good and expensive things, and on the pocket of the coat was pinned a paper on which were written these words: "To be worn every day, will be replaced by others when necessary." Miss Minchin was quite agitated. "Sarah, dear, is it possible that you have living relatives in this country? An uncle or cousin of your father's, perhaps?" "None that I've ever known. Papa never told me anything about a family in England." "Well, someone is very kind to you." Sarah did not know what thoughts were racing behind Miss Minchin's eyes, but the change in her voice was clear. "As the things have been sent, and you are to have new ones when they are worn out, you may as well go and put them on and look respectable. After you are dressed, you may come downstairs and learn your lessons in the schoolroom. You need not go out on any more errands today." "Am I to be a student again? It doesn't seem real." Oh, hey, we can mix with the other girls again. So, our knowledge and everything has gone down. Let's see. Let's practice a bit of dance. Let's write in our diary, do some tutoring, go for a walk. Sure, whatever. It's not really important what we do till we know what it unlocks. Okay. So, we got some artistry, a bit of patience, some sympathy, some grace, some belief, and some vigour. Cool. In the afternoon, Sarah and Becky sat together on Sarah's new couch in the beautiful attic hideaway. No one else had yet been invited to view the changes, but every student had seen Sarah in her fine new clothes, sitting back in her old place of honour in the schoolroom. "I'm not sure who I am anymore." Alright, chat. So, when the new hangout happens, I imagine that we can now mix with the other girls. So if there's one that you would like me to mix with, if possible, we will. So there's Lavinia the bitch. I don't imagine anyone will want me to hang out with Lavinia. She's very mean. There's Lottie, the little girl who we've sort of replaced as a sort of mothered. There's the dancing girl, who's really, she dances and she's nice. That's a redhead. And there's Becky, of course, and Ermengarde, who is the blonde-haired girl who is a bit slow-witted, but very kind. So if you let me know which one you'd like me to hang around with, I will see if we can aim for them. And we'll just hang out. This time we'll just hang out with whoever we can. And next time I'll aim for their thing. So yeah, just let me know.
I'm not sure who I am anymore. Are you making something up in your head, miss? What? When you stare at the coals like that, all dreaming like, it usually means you're making a new story. Not this time. I'm wondering what I ought to do. It seems like it can't be fairies now that other people have seen the magic happening. Miss Minchin thinks I might have relatives that I don't know about. Well, if you don't know, you wouldn't know, would you, miss? But if there is a real person who is doing all this for me, then somehow or other I must find out who it is so that I can thank them. Isn't that so? It seems so, miss, but you don't know where they're at, but they know where you're at, sure enough. Seems if they wanted to talk to you, they could go ahead and do it. Maybe it's a riddle that I'm meant to solve. With magic, there is always a challenge. I hope I will think of something soon. For now, if you sit still, I will get one of the new books and read it to you.
What was that?
Something's there, miss. It was a strange little sound, like a soft scratching. It sounds rather like a cat trying to get in.
Sarah climbed up to peer out of the skylight.
Oh, it is Charan. It's Karan. He's left out of the Lascar's attic again, and he saw our light. Are you going to let him in, miss? Yes, of course. It's too cold to have for monkeys to be out. They're delicate. I'll coax him in.
She opened the skylight and spoke to the monkey in soft, coaxing tones, the same as she would use on a sparrow or a rat or even Miss Minchin's cat, TYBALT. TYBALT the awesome! After a moment's hesitation, the creature seemed grateful for the invitation into warmth. He hopped through the skylight and ran through the room in a great circle, even climbing over Becky's lap.
Oh, his tail tickles!
After his initial exploration, the monkey curled up in a heap on a soft blanket and fell asleep.
Poor little thing. I wonder how long he was out there. What shall you do with him? We don't have proper food or water for him here. I will have to carry him next door to his owners. I hope he stays asleep. I'm not sure how Miss Minchin will react if a monkey were running loose in her school.
In the house next door, the monkey's absence had not yet been noted. Mr. Carrisford, himself still an invalid, was once again entertaining a visitor. "What news? Did you find the child the Russian couple adopted?" "Her name is Emily Carew. She's much younger than Captain Crew's little girl. I've seen and talked to her. She is not the child we are looking for." "Then the search has to be begun all over again." Come, we'll find her yet. We will go to France together. Paris, of course, but we might also consider Bordeaux. The climate there will be kinder to you this season." "Yes, we must begin at once. No time should be lost. And yet—" "You seem reluctant. We could survey the schools of London if you wish to remain longer. You might have been wrong about France. Many British officers send their offspring here." "No, there is a child in London who interests me, but she is not a student. A poor little serving drudge in the house next door. Rammed that ass." Sorry. "Told me of the child's miseries, and together we invented a romantic plan to aid her. It gave us something to plan and think about in these long dark days while you have been gone. Since I could not find the child we sought, I could at least bring comfort to some other parentless soul. If we do leave for France, I must consider what to do for that child. It would be a cruelty to abandon her now." "A child without family. Perhaps you should bring her with you. She might prove a companion for Crew's child if you find her." No, it would be unkind to pluck a little London girl from her home and spirit her off in another country, where she knows no one and does not speak the language." "Oh, she speaks that fucking language, mate. You would not believe." "She does not even know me. We have never met. I have played the mysterious benefactor, changing her life from a distance. If Ramdad asks..." I can't stop it! Help! We're not so agile and soft-footed. It would not have been possible. He has crept into the child's very bedroom unheard to deliver her our gifts. Ah, here is the man himself." Ramdad salaamed respectfully, but with a touch of excitement in his eyes. Sahib, the child herself has come, the child whom we have discussed. She brings back Charan, who has again run away to her attic under the roof. I have asked that she remain. It was my thought that it would please you to see and speak with her, if your strength is sufficient for a visit. Yes, I think I should like to see her this once. Only once, Sahib. It would do the child no kindness to befriend her now, only to abandon her at once. Carmichael has returned from his journey without success. As soon as possible, we must embark for France to continue the search. You are not yet recovered. I will not allow excuses to hold me back from doing what must be done. I will go at once. I must. Ah, but that is nothing to do with this child. Please go and bring her in. As Ram Das, yeah, I did it right, left the room, he turned to Carmichael with a sad little smile. You see, that is another reason I cannot bring the girl with me to Paris. I fear it might be too tempting to see her as a substitute for the child that I have not yet found. I will leave some funds in trust for her with a solicitor and wish her well. There will be an end to it. She will never know. Then Sarah came into the room carrying the little monkey in her arms. He had awakened, and he evidently did not intend to part from her, if it could be helped. He was clinging to her and chattering, and the interesting excitement of finding herself in the Indian gentleman's room had brought a flush to Sarah's cheeks. Your monkey ran away again. He came to my window and I let him in because it was so cold. That was very thoughtful of you. Shall I give him to the Lascar now? How do you know he is a Lascar? Oh, I know Lascars. I was born in India. The Indian gentleman sat upright so suddenly, with such a change of expression, that she was for a moment quite startled. The monkey escaped from her grasp and off to the Lascar's arms. Born in India? Come here, child. Sarah went to him and laid her hand in his, as he seemed to want to take it. You live next door at Miss Minchin's seminary, a school, but you are not one of her pupils. I don't think I know exactly what I am. At first I was a pupil and a parlour boarder, but now I sleep in the attic next to the scullery maid. He raised her hand in his, eyes wide, and then turned away. Question her, Carmichael, I cannot. What is this about? Mr. Carmichael laid his hands on Sarah's shoulders and gently guided her a few steps away from the fragile man. He stooped a bit, lowering his eyes to her level, and spoke soothingly. What is your name, my dear? Sarah. What do you mean that you were a pupil at first, Sarah? When I was first taken there by my papa. But he died. He lost all his money, and there was none left for me. There was no one to take care of me or to pay Miss Minchin. How did your father lose his money? He did not lose it. He had a friend he was very fond of. It was his friend who took his money. He loved his friend too much. He trusted him. He should not. Now came the quavering voice of the invalid gentleman. Perhaps a friend might not have meant to do harm. It might have happened through a mistake. Sarah's response was solemn. It did not matter for my papa. The shock of it killed him. What was your father's name, child? His name was Ralph Crewe, Captain Crewe. He died in India. It is the child. The child? His eyes bulged in his head. He went quite pale before exploding in a fit of coughing. Tom! The Lascar ran to his side at once, while the other gentleman looked away and cleared his throat. Yes, well, Ramdas is a devoted servant. I think they're more like lovers. Hey, I ship it. Sarah could not understand his words, overwhelmed as she was with the strength of the Indian gentleman's reaction. It seemed for a moment as if he might die right there in front of her. Ram Das, the Lascar, poured out drops from a bottle into a snifter and held it to his master's lips while soothing his trembling shoulders. With the two of them so evidently occupied, Sarah turned in confusion to the other man in the room. What child am I? Miss Carrisford was your father's friend, Sarah. Don't be afraid. We have been looking for you. For me? Then he was the one who lost my papa's money? He only thought that he had lost it. It was a mistake. But he believed that it was true, and because he loved your father so much, his grief made him so ill that he was not in his right mind. He almost died of brain fever, and long before he began to recover, your poor papa was dead. He did not know where to find you. He believed you were in school in France or in Russia. We've been searching the world for you. And I was so near. Ramdas, Ramadat ass, clasped his master's shoulders in a gesture of support. Mr. Carrisford looked calmer now, leaning back into his chair and breathing freely, though still pale. I did not guess. Nor did I dream that you were his friend, poor child. I saw only that you were a little girl who was kind to others, and was not treated with kindness. Ram told me how he saw you go by on your errands, looking so sad and neglected, and how you slept in a cold and joyless garret. We wished to make you happier. And so I climbed through your window to bring you gifts and try to make you comfortable. Sarah's face lit up. She walked up to Ram Dass and Mr. Carrisford, her hands clasped to her breast. You sent the things to me, the beautiful things. It is you who are my friends. And with that there were many tears and embraces. You have your father's sweet face, but those eyes must be your mother's. They are mine. People often say they are strange, so they must not look like my mother's because she was beautiful. Ram Dass chuckled deeply at her words. Little one, many things can be both strange and beautiful. Oh! Miss Carmichael stepped in now to turn matters back to the practical. Sarah, now that we have found you, we wish to begin plans for your future. Your father's share of the diamonds will be yours, but for now you may wish to complete your schooling. She is not to return to that seminary. They have abused and mistreated her quite enough. I need not go back. I am glad. Carmichael, go and speak to this Miss Minchin. She will be very angry. She does not like me, though perhaps it is my fault because I do not like her. However, there is someone special that must be told. At this point there came a knock upon the door. It seemed that Carmichael would be spared the trip, for the visitor at the door was none other than Miss Minchin herself. I am very sorry to disturb you, Mr. Carrisford, but I have explanations to make. I am the proprietress of the Select Seminary for young ladies next door. I have come here as a matter of duty. I have discovered that you have been intruded upon through the forwardness of one of my pupils, a charity pupil who intruded without my knowledge. She turned upon Sarah. Go home at once. You shall be severely punished for this. Both Ram Dass and Mr. Carrisford each laid a protective hand on one of Sarah's shoulders. She is not going. Her home for the future will be with us. With you? That is most... Mr. Carrisford, madame, was an intimate friend of the late Captain Crew. He was his partner in certain large investments. The fortune which Captain Crew supposed he had lost has been recovered. Sarah's fortune? Certain events have increased it enormously. The diamond mines have retrieved themselves. There are not many princesses, Miss Minchin, who are richer than your little charity pupil will be. Aghast, she looked back and forth between the members of the room, as if expecting someone to admit to the jest, but no such explanation was forthcoming. Eat that, bitch! I mean, what? The muscles in her neck tightened visibly as she swallowed. I see. That is most fortunate for her. Until now I have been forced to do everything for her out of my own pocket. But for me she should have starved on the streets. She might have starved more comfortably there than in your attic. I maintain a school of many pupils. I cannot keep them all in comfort without funds. But now, if she can pay for her schooling as the others do, I would be very pleased to keep her. If Sarah herself wishes to return to you, I dare say Mr. Carrisford might not refuse to allow it, but that rests with Sarah. This requirement to plead for Sarah's acceptance clearly did not sit well with the woman, but she would not give up so easily. Dear Sarah, I have not spoiled you, perhaps, but you know that your papa was pleased with your progress at my seminary. And I have always been... That's a lie, you bitch. Look at your eyes. They're like, I would kill this little girl if I could. Oh, give me a chance. Let me take that sword down off the mantle and wield it. Hiya! Almost tempted to make another fan art. Almost. Very closely tempted. Miss Minchin with the samurai sword, attacking Sarah. Oh, no, I won't do it. I won't do it. Oh. I have always been very fond of you. Have you, Miss Minchin? I did not know that. We used to take tea together, do you recall? I have always had your best interests at heart. I have even allowed you to continue education when you were unable to pay. If you return, all can be as it was. Sarah's green eyes fixed on her with a quiet, determined look. You know why I will not go home with you. You know quite well. Have you no gratitude? Are you completely heartless? I am very grateful for the good friends that have sustained me when I was in need, but you have never been my friend. I do not wish for any harm to come to you. I do not want to hurt you as you have hurt me, but I will never belong to you again. Miss Minchin flinched, though she held herself proudly. Perhaps she did the best that she could. She did give me a place to sleep and books to read. She was not kind, but she was not deliberately vicious most of the time. That is not enough. I will not allow obligation or forced gratitude to put me in a position where she can hurt me again. I am free now. I will have a new life. Can we take Becky with us, please? There was a great bustling around the front of Miss Minchin's select seminary, as all of Sarah's belongings were removed and carried out to the house next door. The proprietress herself could do nothing but stand and fume, to have had such a chance and let it slip from her fingers. The girls were abuzz with whispers and rumours. Those who had been friends, like the kind, dependable Ermengarde, came forward to wish Sarah good fortune on her travels. Others hid themselves away in shame at their own past behaviour, or chagrin for not keeping up a connection which might now prove to be valuable. Far above, in the little attic room, the cheer was lessened. Once all of the new treasures were stripped and boxed and toted away, there was nothing left but the bare skeleton, cold and soulless as it had been before Sarah's exile to the garret. All of the magic was gone. "Oh, Becky, we won't leave you here." Becky walked over to the iron bedstead that had once been Sarah's and laid her hand upon the mattress. Miss Minchin had insisted that Becky's second mattress be returned to the other attic to make the room suitable for habitation again, if she could find another such made. There was no way for Becky to refuse. The mattress belonged to Miss Minchin, after all. Everything did. "Becky? Oh, miss!" As Sarah, in all her finery, walked into the dingy little attic, Becky awkwardly adjusted the kerchief on her head. "Good afternoon, miss. Isn't there anything you wanted to say to me?" "Ah? Well, miss, I'm happy for you, I am. It's the best thing that could have happened. You deserve good things. Maybe now you'll go back to India like you wanted. Maybe you can meet that monkey's family in the jungle where it's warm and full of coconuts." "Oh, Becky, you silly precious thing." Sarah caught up Becky's hands in her own. "Isn't there something else you wanted to tell me, something you wanted to ask me?" Don't know what you mean, miss. Didn't we make a promise to each other long ago? I'm not keeping any secrets." "Not that. Didn't we promise always to tell each other if we were in trouble? If there was something we needed? I'll have a new home now. I'll be leaving the school. Maybe I'll find a new one. Maybe we'll travel. But isn't there something you need?" I just need you to be happy, miss." "Oh, Becky, can't you ask for anything for yourself?" "Wouldn't be right, miss." "Then I will do it for you." Before Becky's widening eyes, Sarah knelt on the bare attic floor, still clasping the other girl's hands in hers. "Will you do me the honour of coming with me and sharing my life forever? Oh, and sharing my life forever? You have to say yes or no, Becky. I want to give you everything, but only if it's what you want." "Oh, miss, that still isn't an answer. You'll really take me with you and let me be your maid?" "I don't want you to be my maid. I want you to be my partner."
"You're 12.
"To share in my fortunes, just like Mr. Carrisford and my papa did. You deserve a happy ending just as much as I do. We're both the same, you and I, don't you see? You mean I won't have to work no more if I don't want to? You'll take care of me. I want to do more than protect you. I want to make you a princess. And ride in a carriage and all. We shall travel among the populous, and bring gifts just like Father Christmas. Oh, miss! And if you keep calling me miss, I'm going to have to call you the same in return. Becky, I love you. Now please, won't you say what you want? Will you come?" I'd go anywhere with you, miss. Sarah." "Yes." Sarah leapt to her feet and hugged her. "You see, the magic helped me keep my promise. Now we need a new promise to live happily ever after." based on the novel A Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett. If you haven't read that or seen the movie, it's really good. Look at these cute little chibis. Yeah, Hanako Games. They make some good games. They also made, I believe, that one about the queen, princess to queen or whatever it is, where you're a princess and you've got to try and become a queen and not die. That's one of their games, so you know it's quality shit. Oh, Connet, good job on the background art. It was really nicely done. The chibi art was really cute too. There's all the characters in chibi form. It's a pity Lavinia didn't get more of a more characterization, because she started off as a bitch, but she really liked weird stuff. So it was cool, but I would have liked to have seen that side of her earlier, so that, you know, you'd be more prepared to actually go for her instead of, you know, going for somebody else who's nicer. Anybody else who's nicer. Look at all this music. I'm probably going to get copyright struck for this music in the background. What can you do? That is such a cute dress. You know what it reminds me of? What's it called? Oh. Cardcaptor Sakura. I totally just didn't print screen. Nope, not me. A Little Lily Princess. Aww. 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 Thank you for playing. You're welcome. And so that was Little Lily Princess. So here's the gallery. Let's just have a look through our journey. So we had a picture of Lottie. And then we had a picture of the girls doing stretches before dancing. And then we had Miss Minchin and us following along like ducks. And we went to the museum together. There was us with our maid before she pissed off on us. And then we had Becky falling out of the tower. And the end where we asked Becky to come with us. There's a lot more to collect. So yeah, if you like this game, check it out on Steam. It's worth looking at. There's other areas, options to go through. And yeah, so that completes our little playthrough of A Little Lily Princess. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to stop the stream for a few moments, take a little break. When I come back, we'll see about playing maybe another game. I'm not sure. We got close to finishing Human Fall Flat, so maybe we'll knock that one out as well. It's quite different from this, but it's something. We'll see. So I will return. You guys go take a break. I'm just going to stop the stream so that it cuts this into a separate video from the next one. So don't fret. I shall return. Alright. Be back in about 5 to 10. So, yeah. Ciao.